Hello, I am Carrie Griskevitz, a consular officer at the American Embassy in Brussels, Belgium. Part of my job at the Embassy is to issue visas to those who wish to travel to the United States. I'm going to tell you about student visas today. There are three types of visas for students: F1 visa, M1 visa, and J1 visa. An F1 visa is for academic or language studies. An M1 visa is for non-academic or vocational studies, and a J1 visa is for educational and cultural exchange programs designated by the U.S. Department of State. Students wishing to do an internship, practical training, or a stage in the U.S., or who wish to work as an au pair, must also apply for a J1 visa. Let's first talk about the F1 and M1 visas. In both cases, a student must be accepted by an institution in the United States with the purpose of pursuing a full course of study, whether academic or non-academic. In both cases, the institution must provide the student with a form called Certificate of Eligibility Form, or better known as an I-20. It must be properly completed and signed by the designated school official. This form, together with supporting documents, must be submitted by the student at the American Embassy at the time of their interview with the consular officer. Once a student is enrolled in a program and he or she has received the I-20 form, he or she must then pay a $200 fee called the Student and Exchange Visitor Information System fee, or the SEVIS fee. This fee must be paid before a student comes to the American Embassy for the visa interview by completing a form online and paying with a credit card. The electronic receipt of payment must be presented to the consular officer at the time of the interview, again with any other documentary requirements. They must also show that sufficient funding is available to pay for all living and school expenses during their time in the U.S. Student visas can be issued at the earliest 120 days prior to the start of an academic program. Now, students often ask, can we accept employment while studying in the U.S.? An F1 student may not accept employment off campus during the first year of study. After the first year of study, with the authorization of the local U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, the student may accept off-campus employment. For jobs on campus, this authorization is not required. And certain students are authorized to do some practical training that is part of their coursework. To obtain practical work authorizations, students must have their I-20 form endorsed by a school official and obtain approval from Immigration Service on a card known as an Employment Authorization Card. An M1 student may not accept employment except for temporary employment for practical training. All F1 and M1 visa applicants must have successfully completed the prerequisite courses to qualify for their proposed studies in the United States. And unless they're coming to the U.S. to participate in an English language program, they must also be able to demonstrate their proficiency in the English language to show that they'll be able to complete their coursework, or that their program has made arrangements for language courses. The third category of visas for students is the J1 visa, also known as an exchange visitor visa. A J1 visa covers a wide range of purposes. Students at all academic levels could be a J1 visa. It also covers trainees, interns who want on-the-job training with firms and institutions. It covers professors coming to teach or do research at institutions of higher learning, and it covers research scholars. To apply for a J1 exchange visitor visa, the student must also obtain a certificate of eligibility from a sponsoring organization. This form is called a DS 2019. And those who are doing trainingships and internships will need an additional form called a DS 7002. J1 applicants will also need to pay the SEVIS fee. For a J1 visa, the fee is $180, except in very limited cases, such as au pairs and camp counselors, where the fee will be $35. The SEVIS fee must be paid before coming to the U.S. Embassy for the interview, again by completing the online form with a credit card, and the receipt will need to be presented to the consular officer at the time of the interview. J1 visas can be issued at any time before the start of a program, but J1 visa holders will not be admitted to the U.S. until 30 days or less prior to the start date of their program. Participants on a J1 exchange must also show sufficient funds to cover their expenses, or they can show that they'll receive payment or funds from a sponsoring organization in the form of a scholarship or a stipend. J1 visa holders must also have sufficient academic preparation to participate in their program, as well as knowledge of the English language. Or the program must be designed to accommodate non-English speaking participants. Now, many people wonder, are J1 visa holders allowed to work? Well, participants in J1 programs, which provide specifically for job training, teaching, research, or other activities involving paid employment, are allowed to work in the United States. Participants in programs which do not specifically involve employment are not allowed to work in the United States. Please note that all foreign nationals wishing to do a stage or an unpaid internship, regardless of their duration of stay, even if it's less than 90 days, they cannot use the visa waiver program. They will require a J1 visa, and they should find a designated visa sponsor or organization which will help them obtain the appropriate documents. To sum up what we need to go over today, I will go through the actual visa process, what it will be like when you come to the American Embassy for your interview. So you're going to start out by applying for your program and being accepted to an approved institution in the United States. You must then obtain the necessary paperwork. So for an F1 or M1 visa applicant, that will be an original I-20 form. For a J1 visa applicant, that will be the DS 2019 form. And for an intern or trainee, they will also need the DS 7002 form. All applicants should also pay their SEVIS fee online. For an F1 or M1 visa applicant, that's a fee of $200. For a J1 visa applicant, that's a fee of $180. You can pay those online, and you'll present your receipts at the time of your interview. Once you have your paperwork in order, you can call the call center to schedule your interview appointment at the U.S. Embassy. There will be a €15 fee when you schedule your appointment. After that, you can pay your interview fee of $140 into the embassy bank account. Then you can fill out your visa application online, and you'll submit that same application online and print out the confirmation page, which you will also present at your interview at the embassy. Please make sure to review the U.S. Embassy website to make sure you have all the documents you need for the type of visa you're going to ask for, including a self-addressed envelope so we can mail your passport and visa back to you, and a photo. Then you'll show up at the embassy for your interview, and a week later, your passport and your visa will arrive to you in the mail. We look forward to seeing you at the consular section of the American Embassy in Brussels.